I'm Polly Frankenfuck, and how did we meet? I guess you kind of hit me up about
summer at Copper Top, and I knew you played guitar.
Yeah, and it was several months before we started actually playing, and once we did, it went naturally.
Yeah. I'm Action Man. Met fucking Fucker Dave at a bar. I'd known him a while. He was like, "Hey man, I'm putting something together. We've been practicing. Show up, play." And didn't expect me to show up, but I guess I did, and here we are now.
Actually, he missed the first practice. He said, "I can't make it." Yeah. And then when he finally came in for the first practice, I said, "I got to cancel." Because I went to a show at the tetanus ramp. Yeah. I don't remember the fuck I met Paul yet, but I know that he played guitar. But I ran into him at a Go-Go Killer show at Sidetracks. I did. And that's kind of where we got the phone numbers and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Benjamin, too, at Sidetracks. A different Go-Go Killer show. Yeah. And I said, man, me and Jerry, because, me and Jerry work together. I said, we've been looking for a bass player and guitar player for goddamn months, right? It's a long time. Finally, and it was my mission to recruit people, because Jerry wouldn't go out and drink after just me and Jerry doing our practice. I was the bar hopping, motherfucker, and I'd out drinking, going to shows. I know Jerry from working with him, so, and I knew he was in random conflict and all that. And,
Yeah, well, I mean, just try to put something together, get back out there and do a little bit of something. And like you said, we met at work, and here we are. Who wants it?
Let me give you the name of the band, the Frankenfucks, where it came from. I don't know if you guys know. I posted 3-4 years ago on Facebook. I said the stupid name of some punk band that popped into my brain. And I said, all right, now let's hear all of your ideas. Go. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's hear y'all. And a bunch of people commented. And Donnie Sharp, Donnie Go Killer, he said, the Frankenfucks. And it always stuck in my brain. And I was in no band. I have never been my entire life. And when Jerry was talking about this, he just wanted a bunch of old punk cover tunes, just 3 shows only. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, well, I'm the guy, Anyway, so that stuck in my brain. The Frankenfucks. To me, that's the greatest punk rock fucking band name ever.
Loved it. It's what we've been needing for some time, to have a venue, all ages, bring your own beer. And it's something that,
Juice boxes. Sometimes they're adult juice boxes.
I love everything that kills the venue.
I love that big sign in the background.
I was very excited right off, and I messaged you, showed interest. I was like, whatever I can do to help. We don't make a lot of money, but whatever we can do, physical wise or whatever, just to band together to keep something like that going. I've always been for that. So I've seen these type of venues come and go, in Huntsville throughout time, and I think it's something that's very important to keep going with all ages in particular, with the younger crowd to get involved and everything like that. So. And getting guidance from the older fuckers and in the scene and everything. So,
passing the torch.
Yeah, it's very important for me for TrashBone to keep going, for sure. Oh, yeah. Or for other people to come and start doing this shit too. Because if they do, then I'm there to help them. So I want to see that shit thrive in this city. We don't have much, and we should have a good music scene, and there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
But, can I comment on the all ages thing?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, the all ages thing I think was fucking great, because I'm from the Chicago area, and every show that I went to, as a kid, was all ages. So, my God, we were doing shows that you had to be 21 and up, or whatever, at bars. So I loved it, because it's very important for kids. It is. Because if I didn't go to those all ages shows as a fucking teenager, my God, who knows? There might not be a Frankenfucks. Period. Exactly. So it's very important. You're right. You inspire kids, and yeah.
Look at COVID.
Goddamn.
COVID wouldn't exist.
So it's very important what you guys did, and maybe get it going again. I hope.
We're gonna try to. That's our plan.
It'd be nice. Fuck yeah. And
our first time we were ever here, it was back in October, I think.
Yeah.
And it was the Frankenfucks, Casket Kids.
They were good. I haven't seen them since.
And Skeptic.
It was Skeptic was supposed to be there, but I think Skeptic was there. It was Dirty Swagger. They were there too.
Oh, Dirty Swagger.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Yep, you guys were the opening.
That's how we heard about the place, was
Oh.
the Battle of the Bands, and we were like, dude, we gotta get on that.
Yeah.
I remember Paul, the guitarist, was like just plastered drunk, and we were leaving, and they all handed me like, give our tickets to the guitarist.
This is our first time, we were kind of exposed to this whole scene here,
Yeah.
So it was our first time seeing the Frankenfucks, and we were walking out and we had the tickets you guys were handing out for the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were leaving, but I was like, dude, I don't know who these guys are, but they got my vote, And
And I gave it to him, and he was like, thanks. And like,
If you were to tell somebody to listen to one song that sums up Frankenfucks, what song would you tell them to listen to?
Kill 'em all.
Kill 'em all?
For sure.
Oh, one of our own?
Yeah.
Fuck the pigs, kill them all.
Oh. I like the new one, Huntsville Ripper.
Yeah.
But kill them all. Yeah, kill them all. I remember, yeah.
No, dude, I love TrashBone, dude. Like, everything, like, that this whole scene has stood for, dude. Like, it's just been nothing but unity.
Brad Blade Osborne is here in the flesh, and he has something to say about a little thing called rock and roll. How does that go?
To me, it's not just a form of music. It's a lifestyle. It's almost like it's a religion, because you have this one thing that is just 4, 5, 6 different instruments that are brought together by 4, 5, 6 people that turns into sound that spreads. You have one song that could be written by 3, 4 people, 2 people, in the case of the Stones and the Beatles, and that one thing just spreads so that you got people in India, you got people in Brazil, you got people in England, Los Angeles, New York, most of shows Alabama that come together for this one cause. And it's to me, it's the greatest thing that's ever been made, because it's the only thing that's ever been able to, reach me. Everybody's got their own thing where it's just like, it might be football, or it might be, because especially around here, everybody's like the almighty roll tide, but that never spoke to me in the way that, like, Chuck Berry just like walking across the stage, or Malcolm Young just playing a machine-like rhythm, in the background, or John Bonham just beating the drums like he saw it, like taking the last of his cocaine.
Brother City, are you ready for rock and roll? Outside, are you ready for rock and roll? Hey, Mike, man, this is for you.
We were like the baby that Muscle Shoals put in a basket and dropped on the steps of Huntsville, from the bench warmers to like whiskeys to all these places that started up, and so we became a part of that community. And these bands that came before us said, there's room for you here. It's like some cities shut you out. There's some that are like, we'll open the door for you. And that's what community is, and that's what we want to do. Our door is always open if you're a young band or an experienced band or a band from some other place. Like, we just want to make music with people who like want to make music, and because we know this is what we do. We're not going to be lawyers. We're not going to be teachers. We're not going to be like kung fu instructors. We're just like guys. I mean, look! I'm in leather pants. I'm in leather pants, man. Like, what other job am I going to get to pull this off? Like, look, Judas Priest tribute act. Or like working at a place called Boners, which is apparently an all-male strip club. I don't know if that exists, but I think the problem with Huntsville, which has gotten to this thing where they're like pushing with the amphitheater, they're pushing this whole thing about how they want to do the music thing. You've seen the stories that have popped up recently, how they're building the amphitheater, they're going to bring bands in. And like being for most of the shows, there's even an article how since it's an hour or two away, the people will come through here, and it's going to tie in our areas together. But Huntsville has also got to the point where it's become a technology-based thing, where it's bringing in people from around, the smartest and the brightest from around the world. And when things like that happen, the people that aren't on that same page get pushed away and they get forgotten about. Like they're spending all their time talking about bringing in like the bands that are going to be playing like the Kings of Leon or like the Maroon 5 or whatever the bands you would think that would 5,000 seat or amphitheater would do. But at the same time, they're not giving the bands that are keeping their city interested in the music a chance. And I think it's like doing the city a disservice to like ignore your artists, to just like, because if you want to get people to come into your amphitheater in 2 years or whatever, why not have like big act, smaller act? Rock and roll is the music for misfits, but it's like the Misfit Island where we're all kind of together.
A few years back, I said, hey, I'm kind of hitting my ceiling. I want to get out of St. Augustine. I want to change of pace. And they're like, you could move to New York, LA, Chicago. You could have a job anywhere in this industry. And I was like, I want something that's a little bit more challenge. I also want to go somewhere where it feels like the community's excited about something happening. You go somewhere like Austin or you go somewhere like Nashville even, it's like you're a dime a dozen. How many venues, how many artists, you're just fighting your small fish in this huge pond of, you're really trying to fight your way through. And I was like, I want to make a difference like I did in St. Augustine. So fast forward a little bit, they said, hey, there's this really cool city that's doing this the city leadership, believe it or not, are really embracing this really cool cultural progressive forward step in creating quality of life and arts, and they're investing, and it's a really great city and blah, blah. you'd be working, like my friend Mike was pitching this to me. He's like, you'd be working with Ben and I, and I'm like, I'm in. Cool. And then I went, oh shit, well, where is it? And they said, Huntsville, Alabama. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, why? And I was like, I got to get out of the South. I got to go somewhere where it feels, and in my mind, Huntsville, I had never been here. I just equated it with lower Alabama or Birmingham that I had just been through, which felt like to me, it felt like where I was coming from in North Florida. It felt a little angrier. There was a lot of tension. People just weren't happy with their lives. There wasn't it didn't feel like inspiring. They're like, have you been to Huntsville? I said, no. They're like, you got to go. So my wife and kids and I came over here. We visited. First time I said, I like it here. This is not what I expected. I met the city leadership, to their credit. I was like, these are not like the typical politicians I meet. These, some of this top brass have vision that I've not seen before. So I got involved, and then 2 years ago I moved here, and I'm leading the project on behalf of the city with my group, Venue Group, which is still Ben Lovett, Mike Luba, and a whole team of us. We're all industry people. We're either musicians, most of us are musicians, or producers, or people who've been in the industry for a long time. And so we're creating this amphitheater to be the best venue in the world of that scale that we can. And I bring all that St. Augustine stuff, the side stages, the markets, supporting local musicians, doing the things that, we feel are important to a community. Because if you just have that thing sitting out there in mid-city, you have this big building out there that does 20 shows a year, but the rest 345 days a year just sits dark, like a big building that taxpayers have dumped all this money into. What a waste. So why not have it on any given day? Like today, we could just go there, and there's kids skating, and there's a local band playing, and there's people drinking beer, and like people doing yoga in the pit. And it's like, well, this is cool. It's a park. It's a amenity. You have to have those big arenas, those amphitheaters, like the VBC and the amphitheater and everything else. And you have to have the DIY spots, and you have to have, a place like TrashBone, and you have to have a place like Sidetracks, and everywhere in between that ladder. Because people are going up and down that ladder in their music career and their taste in music. The band you love that was playing to 50 people 2 years ago, they blow up, and they're playing in front of 4,000 people. You still love that band, and you want to go see them, but you don't want to have to travel to Atlanta to go see them. All of a sudden, they're still playing in your town. You can be like, dude, you slept on my couch. And now you're here on this stage in front of all these people. And it's like, you helped get them there, right? You really make something special if all of a sudden you find out, oh, the guy running the biggest venue in town and the guy running this venue, they work together. And it's like, you don't hear that place. In most places, people are dog eat dog. They are, yeah. And they could give a shit about each other. It's like, nope, I don't care. That's his, or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have this thing where there's some partnerships and allegiances that makes it a whole scene very strong and very cool in a way of like, that needs to grow. I need to know more about that. And then we become the model. This is what people should be doing elsewhere, right? That's the whole point. Yeah. Stop living in silos and trying to dog eat dog each other to death. Just work with each other, make it a better place.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve show was awesome.
We opened up New Year's night.
I watched a girl get beat up on my merch table.
Really?
And it was one of those things where I didn't quite understand what was happening at the time, and I just looked up and I was like, "What's happening?"
So what happened? I don't.
So, I'm not entirely. Some girl mouthed off to another girl, basically, and kept mouthing off and kept pushing her buttons, and the girl was just the older girl was like, just stop, just leave me alone. And she just kept poking and kept poking, and the girl was like, okay, fine. And took her by the hair and slammed her down right on top of my merch table and started beating her with a can of beer. And I was like, and I mean, as soon as it happened, it was over. Like, the next thing I know, they're outside. And I was like, okay. I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and I was like, is everybody okay?
That wasn't the reason that was a great
No, it was a great show because everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. We had people jumping up and down and just absolutely just headbanging and moshing.
I remember it was raining really badly, but it was a great night. Everybody, that kind of helped because everybody stayed inside.
Yeah.
It's always kind of tough at shows because people want to go outside and smoke, which is going to happen. But that night, more people were inside because of the rain.
A little girl in the middle of our set stood in front of me and said, hey, can I show you something? And I was like, yeah, sure.
And
she just starts, I mean, she just starts headbanging, whipping her hair back and forth. And I was like, yeah! I was so excited.
That is cool.
So it was all around a good show because of the energy. Just everybody was having a great time. I mean, it was New Year's Eve. What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing. It was just a fun night in general.
Yeah.
So.
Even the girl that got beat up was having a good time.
Yeah.
My personal favorite show at TrashBone was the first one I did. Because COVID was there.
Oh, yeah.
And COVID the band, not to steer the interview away from us, they kick so much ass.
Yeah, they do.
I
remember I pushed so hard for them to be on that show,
especially
too.
for their age, but
Yeah.
they're good anyway. But
like I said, my influence was mainly thrash.
Yeah.
And like,
I told Trey that night, like a few weeks before, I was like, dude, you're gonna be so stoked when you see these guys. I was like, they play like not they play some mainstream stuff, but like they play like track 9 on a Slayer album.
I remember
they don't play like
I
stuff you always
remember
hear.
their warm up song was Phantom Lord by Metallica off their first album.
Yeah.
And they played it about 20 beats per minute faster than Metallica. And he didn't miss a single note, and they don't even have 2 guitarists.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
amazing,
holy
huh?
fuck.
They're a great little group.
Like the boonies and now posing this motherfucker. Haters can't move me, I'm treating shit like the movies. Can't slide by me, better go through me, bitch.
Fuck the man.
Yeah. We're still the people, motherfucker. Yeah.